these new headquarters. I have been often to, I guess, the mothership in New York City, but it's good to have an outpost of the Council right here down the street from the State Department. We get a lot of advice from the Council, so this will mean I won't have as far to go to be told what we should be doing and how we should think about the future.
It's good to be back at the Council on Foreign Relations. As Pete mentioned, I've been a member for a long time and was actually a director for some period of time. I never mentioned that when I was campaigning for re-election back home in Wyoming.
Hello everyone, this is Justin of the Ottawa Expositor, this 5th of February of 2015. And if you think that just because this is Canadian politics that this has nothing to do with you, think again, because this is very, very global what is taking place here right now, and I'd like to show you more about this. So I'm reading the National Post, and this was on the 3rd, the date of his resignation. On the National Compost, our lamestream media newspaper, that says John Baird announces resignation as foreign minister, says he looks forward to next chapter in my life. And basically, a friend of Baird's told Post Media he is making a move towards the private sector, but the 45-year-old did not even hint towards a future career in his farewell speech. So as is noted in the Parliament, he didn't mention anywhere that he was going, and for all that the National Post seemingly knows, he is not has anything in mind whatsoever. But I had a friend actually of mine tell me otherwise, that there was a chance he was going to another place, and merci beaucoup, monsieur. But basically, this was on the Huffington Compost, and Baird was recently asked by the head of a new international commission to help him reform the United Nations World Health Organization because it responded too slowly to the Ebola crisis. You know, the fake Ebola crisis that we've exposed more times than you can count? Well, that's what they're talking about. So I went to look into which organization this actually is, and sure enough, the CBC, the day before the resignation, so conveniently releases that the ex-Aussie Prime Minister Kevin Rudd wants John Baird to help him fix the World Health Organization and other UN organizations. And the problem with this is right here in the next... Sorry, guys. So in the next slide, it shows on that article by CBC that the head of a new international commission wants Canada's tough-talking foreign affairs minister to help him reform the United Nations World Health Organization because it responded too slowly to the Ebola crisis. Former Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd is the head of the Independent Commission on Multilateralism. Does that sound familiar to you guys, like Trilateral Commission? And he slipped into Ottawa largely unnoticed this past week to meet one of his co-chairs, Foreign Affairs Minister John Baird. Apparently, he is a co-chair in an independent commission on multilateralism as a foreign affairs minister. It aims to repair what many see as an ineffective UN system to help it cope better with threats to global security such as terrorism and international pandemics. Does this sound familiar to you guys? You've seen this all being put together and lumped in as one thing? Well, here we go. Okay, this is headed up by an institute called the International Peace Institute, and we'll get further into them later, but this is their website, and they say that Kevin Rudd, sure enough, will be chairing an independent commission on multilateralism, and it will be serving for 2 years, and as it says, it will be co-chaired by Boris Brend, I hope I got that correctly, Foreign Minister of Norway, and John Baird, Foreign Minister of Canada. So it will be. So they seem to be pretty definite on that, okay? Now, before I go any further, let's get a little further into multilateralism in international relations as defined by Wikipedia, and you can say what you want about them, but whatever. Multilateralism is multiple countries working in concert on a given issue. In 1990, Robert Keohane whatever his name is, defined multilateralism as the practice of coordinating national policies in groups of 3 or more states. And it goes on further to say, and sorry guys, I have had a lot of problems with my computer or with the engine that I'm running this on lately. So after the Second World War, the victors, having drawn experience from the failure of the League of Nations, created the United Nations in 1945 with a structure intended to address the weaknesses of the previous body. Unlike the League, the UN had the active participation of the United States and the Soviet Union, the world's 2 greatest contemporary powers. Along with the political institutions of the UN, the post-war also saw the development of other multilateral organizations such as the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, which is now the World Trade Organization, the World Bank, and the World Health Organization. The collective multilateral framework played an important role in maintaining world peace in the Cold War, which people have many suspicions about how influenced that was by the powers that are behind the curtain. Moreover, United Nations peacekeepers stationed around the world became one of the most visible symbols of multilateralism in recent decades. So if that doesn't warn you enough, then I don't know what will. Okay? It goes on to talk about challenges, and this is what I want to bring out the most, okay? Compared to unilateralism and bilateralism, where only the country itself decides on what to do or make decisions between 2 nations, as sovereign states would do, multilateralism is much more complex and challenging. It involves a number of nations, which makes reaching an agreement difficult. In multilateralism, there may be no consensus. Each of the nations, horrible Wikipedia grammar, have to dedicate to some degree to make the best outcome for all. Right, guys? Because the end justifies the mean in their minds, right? So guys, this is completely against sovereignty. And the company or the institute that is behind this, apparently it's the private sector. It's being headed up by the IPI, the International Peace Institute, which is situated at 777 United Nations Plaza in New York City. Okay? And it is an independent, non-profit research and policy development institution based in New York, as it describes itself most likely on the Wikipedia websites. It specializes in multilateral approaches of peace and security issues, working closely with the Secretariat and membership of the United Nations. Their primary objective is to promote effective international responses to new and emerging issues and crises through research, analysis, and policy development. Okay? And if you go through, who are the officers? Who heads this up? Well, we have 2 people. The president, and I hope I get this right, it's Terry Rod Larson, and its board of directors is chaired by Rita Hauser. Well, I had a little suspicion, so I did a little bit of looking on them, and you can actually find a conversation with Terry Rod Larson on none other but the website for the Council on Foreign Relations. If you guys don't know what this is, you need to look this up right now. You need to pause this, start educating yourself, come back to me later, because this is an evil, evil organization. Okay? And if you look up Rita Hauser, well, look who's a longtime CFR member. There you go, right? So we're all chummed together. And even if you look at Kevin Rudd, he has his own little spotlight that is on the CFR website. So all these people are backed by the CFR. No wonder you have every single party in our parliament just giving them the nod off, giving John Baird the nod off. You please go right ahead. Best wishes. Don't worry about leaving, halfway through your life when you were so dedicated to us. Yeah, no questions whatsoever. These are the guys that are going to be taking him. And he'll be making decisions on behalf of, they say independent, but now we see the ties to the CFR and the UN, okay? This is not independent, okay? This is not at all. But as you can see on their website, the IPI website, they launched this and they're going to go ahead with it. And apparently it's not a subject of debate. It will be co-chaired by the Foreign Minister of Norway and John Baird, okay? But there's a problem with this, guys. On their shitty little website that looks like they don't want anybody to ever see, it looks like I could have made that website when I was 10 years old. They have the date on this is September the 22nd of 2014, but that's months ago. How did they know that John Baird was going to be the co-chair of this newly launched program? Well, I started looking up further, and it seems like this was actually all over the news months ago, September 24th on the Australian. I'll have all the links below, by the way. The co-chair of the Independent Commission on Multilateralism with Norwegian Foreign Minister Bård Brende and Canadian Foreign Minister John Baird. It's a 2-year program. Let's take a look. We have even more evidence. This is all over the internet. This is all over newspapers in every different country. Here's one from Sputnik. I believe this is a Russian affiliate. It was everywhere except for CBC and the rest of the Canadian newspapers. It was nowhere to be found. I tried and searched it, and the only time that anybody ever spoke about it in Canadian media was one day before he resigned as foreign minister. Well, what is going on, guys? I'm just blown away. Like, sometimes I'd still get surprised that the government and the media still work together as closely as they do. And then if you go further, take a look at CBC News's videos on YouTube, and they have 4 videos back to back to back of all the different parties that are praising him, when really he's going to work more closely and devote the rest of his life to a Council of Foreign Relations influenced institute. This is not independent. Former Congressman John Rarick, I hope I got his name right, in 1971 said that the Council on Foreign Relations is the establishment, quote unquote. Not only does it have influence and power in key decision-making positions and highest levels of government to apply pressure from above, but it also announces and uses individuals and groups to bring pressure from below to justify the high-level decisions for converting the U.S. from a sovereign constitutional republic into a servile member state of a one-world dictatorship. And if you think that this is just because it's a UN or a U.S. company or a U.S. institute, that it isn't affecting Canada, well, then why is John Baird being chosen by them? I highly recommend that you look up CFR. I will have some basic links below that you can get yourself educated on the basic level, as well with the Trilateral Commission, like Multilateral. These 2 institutes or commissions, whatever you want to call them, need to be exposed more and researched just as much. Guys, I hope this explains a lot for you guys, and let me know what you think. If need be, I will be following up on this, but this is one more CFR bullshit campaign as they try and sell to you that he is loved by all parties as he now steps on a further international stage. Thank you very much for listening to the Ottawa Expositor. Have a good night. Thank you for watching. None of these videos would have been possible without the support of this community. Please subscribe to watch more videos like this, send me your feedback, and share this with whom you can. The Ottawa Expositor is a grateful member of Max Resistance and Free Radio Revolution. All links, including material references, provided below.